In the 1950s, Ray Charles turned rhythm and blues into something nobody had ever heard before. Music that moved your body and your heart at the same time. This was the decade when jukeboxes ruled and R&B wasn't just a genre. It was youth culture itself. So today, we're counting down 12 R&B songs only those who grew up in the 1950s remember. 12. The Robins, Riot in Cell Block number 9.
On July the 2nd, 1953.
1954, before R&B went polished. The Robins made it wild. Riot in Cell Block number 9 was part comedy, part chaos.
Up in Cell Block number 9.
A jailhouse tale told through sharp rhythm, growling vocals, and pure swagger. It's not the radio-safe kind of song Elvis could have touched. It's too raw, too street smart.
Spread like fire across the prison floor.
Kids who grew up in the 50s remember hearing this and laughing because it sounded real, like overhearing grown-up trouble through a cracked door. When Lieber and Stoller later rebranded the group as the Coasters, their fame exploded. But the Robins were the blueprint, the spark before the act got cleaned up for TV.
Up in Cell Block number 9.
Their rhythm made rebellion sound fun. And for that one record, they turned crime into the coolest beat in town. 11. Roy Milton and his Solid Cinders, Information Blues.
When your left eye jumped and your flesh began to crawl.
Roy Milton's Information Blues rolled like midnight conversation in a smoky bar in 1950. He wasn't chasing teen charts. He was talking to adults who'd lived a little.
Oh, you can never tell what's on your woman's mind.
This was jump blues before marketing called it R&B, horns tight, drums lazy but confident, and lyrics about love gone cold instead of bubblegum romance. For 1950s listeners, this was grown folks' music, what the parents played when the kids were out.
Oh, if you want your gal, keep it by your side.
Milton's band, the Solid Cinders, were one of the slickest live acts on the West Coast, but history rarely names them. Information Blues was his quiet peak, the song that whispered everything about the early R&B mood, clever, weary, irresistible.
But if she flags by trade, I'm sure gonna let her ride.
If you remember this one, you weren't at the sock hop. You were at the bar after. 10. Ruth Brown, Wild, Wild Young Men.
Wild, wild young men like to have a good time.
Before Aretha, there was Ruth Brown, the woman who practically built Atlantic Records of sound. In 1953, Wild, Wild Young Men was her sly warning wrapped in rhythm.
Wild men dig me, but I love a cool one.
Delivered with the kind of control that made grown men nervous. In the early 50s, her voice cut through jukeboxes from diners to Navy bars, full of sass, but grounded in gospel grit. It wasn't crossover pop. It was rhythm and blues for people who lived on both sides of joy and trouble.
They all wanna be mine. Oh, mercy, mercy.
The horns pop, the rhythm struts, and Ruth sells every word like she's narrating your week. Most people today know her name but not her catalog. Yet if you were there, you remember that tone. Equal parts flirtation and fire. Ruth Brown didn't sing songs, she commanded rooms. But the next voice on this list didn't flirt or boast. It whispered straight to the heart, turning late-night loneliness into pure R&B poetry. 9. The Five Keys, The Glory of Love.
Break a little.
Back in 1951, the Five Keys gave R&B one of its first true slow burners. Their version of The Glory of Love wasn't flashy.
All of its charm
It was the sound of quiet control, soft harmonies that could stop a room mid-laugh. This was late-night music before the term slow jam even existed. Lead singer Rudy West carried heartbreak in every syllable, while the group's layered background blended gospel grace with nightclub polish.
This world is through with us.
If you were around back then, this was the song couples claimed as their own. No wild solos, no shouting, just warmth, patience, and tones so smooth it felt personal. Decades later, the record still feels like a secret between two people who never needed words louder than a whisper. 8. The Clovers. One Mint Julep.
It's even cuter yet, the way the Clovers do it. So here they are, the Clovers.
When the Clovers dropped One Mint Julep in 1952, nobody expected a joke to groove that hard. The lyrics tell the story of a cocktail gone wrong, but the delivery is pure charm.
One mint julep was the cause of
Tight harmonies, sly smiles, and a rhythm that dances just short of mischief. This was the kind of record that bartenders kept spinning long after midnight, where humor met swing in the perfect ratio.
right now. Oh, face a starter.
Teens in the 50s might have heard it once or twice, but grown folks, those in smoky clubs, knew it line for line. It's one of those songs that made rhythm and blues feel classy without losing its grin. Today, it's almost forgotten, but back then, One Mint Julep
I want to bore you with my troubles, but from now on
was every bar's inside joke that you had to be old enough to get. 7. Lavern Baker, Play It Fair.
Spinning those rock and roll hits like this one coming up right now. Lavern Baker with...
Before her bigger hits defined mid-decade R&B, Lavern Baker delivered Play It Fair in 1955, a song full of attitude and melody so sharp it cut through any radio static.
If you must play the game.
It's playful but serious, a warning wrapped in swing. Lavern didn't just sing, she commanded. Her voice walked the line between flirtation and authority, showing how women in R&B could own the narrative long before it became fashionable.
It's wrong to break a heart. So
For older listeners, this track was one of those deep cuts you'd only catch on the right station, late at night, when the DJ slipped something bold between the hits. If you know Play It Fair, you remember the wink in her tone, a mix of sass, smarts, and pure rhythm that defined the decade's real soul. If you're enjoying this trip through forgotten R&B gems, hit like and subscribe.
the game. Play it fair.
It helps keep these rare voices alive and lets us keep digging deeper into the music only true 1950s fans remember. The next one was a scandal back in the 50s. 6. The Midnighters, Sexy Ways.
baby, shake, shake, shake till the middle of your...
In 1954, Hank Ballard and the Midnighters were already pushing radio limits, but Sexy Ways was the one that made even jukebox owners blush.
Baby, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle till you fall out on your...
It was playful, sly, and built entirely on rhythm, a groove that slid more than it swung. Teens back then didn't hear it on national radio. They heard it in back rooms, cafes, and drive-ins where the station faded in and out.
Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby.
The beat was contagious, but the lyrics were what people remembered, naughty, but never vulgar. It was the soundtrack of flirtation, a song that made the listener feel like part of a secret club.
I just love your sexy ways. I just...
Sexy Ways didn't just play, it winked. And those who remember it can still feel the grin in every riff and drum snap decades later. 5. The 5 Royales, Think.
Think, think,
before Aretha Franklin made Think an empowerment anthem. The five Royales recorded the original back in 1957, and it was pure gospel meets grit.
Think of all the bad things I try not to do.
This was music that lived between Sunday morning and Saturday night. A guitar-driven sermon for anyone who'd ever been burned by love. Lowman Pauling's sharp chords and Johnny Tanner's pleading vocals gave it a raw honesty that made it stand apart from the smooth pop crowd.
Much of all your happiness have I really claimed.
Listeners in the 1950s didn't just hum along, they felt it in their bones. But as the years passed, covers by bigger stars overshadowed their version. Those who remember the original know how live it sounded coming through a cheap speaker, rough edges and all.
Think about the right thing.
Think was the truth. Long before it became a slogan, Little Willie John, Need Your Love So Bad.
For someone's arms to hold and squeeze me tight.
Released in 1956, this was Little Willie John's masterpiece, a heartbreak wrapped in silk. His voice was fragile yet powerful, turning every syllable into emotion you could almost touch.
Just stand up and tell me when I'm lying.
Unlike the upbeat R&B hits of the era, this song moved slow, deliberate, and aching. It was the sound of 2 a.m. when you'd already made the call and were just waiting for the knock. Older listeners still remember where they were the first time that falsetto broke. It felt too personal to play out loud. Willie John was barely in his 20s, yet he sang like a man twice his age with nothing left to lose.
Tell me you love me, stop driving me mad.
Need Your Love So Bad wasn't background music. It was confession on vinyl. 3. The Orioles, Crying in the Chapel.
Saw me crying in the chapel.
In 1953, the Orioles recorded Crying in the Chapel long before Elvis ever touched it. This wasn't a pop single, it was gospel wearing an R&B suit.
I am happy with the Lord.
Sonny Till's lead vocal trembles between hope and regret, backed by harmonies so soft they almost dissolve into silence. For 1950s listeners, it was the sound of faith meeting heartbreak, and one of those songs you didn't just hear, you felt it.
Never find no.
Couples slow danced to it, mothers played it on Sundays, and radio hosts let it run out with no ads after. Today, Elvis's version overshadows it, but those who grew up back then remember whose voice did it first and best.
Down on your knees and pray.
But the next song didn't just shake the charts. It proved that gospel fire and raw rhythm could live inside the same heartbeat. 2. The Dominoes, Have Mercy Baby.
Have mercy, baby. I know
When Billy Ward and his Dominoes dropped Have Mercy Baby in 1952, it changed what a vocal group could do.
have mercy, baby. Please don't slam that.
Clyde McPhatter didn't sing, he testified. Every note hit like lightning wrapped in velvet. It was gospel energy, wild and unfiltered, set to a rhythm that felt dangerously alive for its time. Kids who heard it back then couldn't explain why it moved them. They just knew something inside them changed.
I know I done you wrong.
Have Mercy Baby didn't chart forever, but it lit the fuse for soul music. You can trace its DNA straight through Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson. It was the sermon that never asked permission. To this day, if someone played it on an old jukebox,
Back where I belong.
every elder in the room would nod in recognition. 1. Johnny Ace, Pledging My Love.
I'll love just you.
Few songs from the 1950s carry the same quiet heartbreak as Pledging My Love. Johnny Ace recorded it in December 1954, just before he accidentally shot himself backstage.
Your love in return.
When it hit radios weeks later, the nation froze. His voice sounded ghostly, already gone, whispering eternal devotion from beyond the static. For anyone who lived through that winter, the memory stuck. Candlelit vigils, slow dances, and DJs who could barely introduce it without pausing. The song's simplicity, just promise, melody, and echo made it immortal.
From you and your loving.
To younger ears today, it's a relic. But to those who were there, it's the record that closed the decade and opened a wound that never quite healed. The last slow dance of a generation. And that wraps our countdown through the rare rhythm and blues records only true 1950s fans still remember.
Keeping you is my goal.
If any of these tracks took you straight back to diners, drive-ins, or late-night radio, hit like and subscribe so these stories keep playing. And don't stop here. Check the next video on your screen for the sounds that came next, when a new decade turned R&B into something even bigger, louder, and history-making.